We can start.
Who is coordinating the media?
We are pressed of time.
And the ODM, led by the chair of the party and the Secretary General. And we have discussed a wide range of issues relating to the elections of Kibra by-election. Of course, the invitation for this meeting came through, we had it through the media, but nevertheless, one of the things we have encouraged the chair and his team to do is be free to come to the commission anytime there's an issue, so that our doors are open as a commission. If there are any issues, we are ready to discuss with our stakeholders. Another issue we have discussed is the issue of the register of voters. The commission has posted on its website the status, but just to say that the register, the comprehensive register will be available next week by 18th of this month, the register which will be used by the people of Kibra. The reason being, this will be now an amalgamation of the 2017 register and the people who registered in Kibra under the continuous voter registration between last year up to the 14th of August, this year when the seat was declared vacant. No citizen in Kibra who registered will be left out. The Commission is committed to ensure that every voter in Kibra gets a chance to vote. And that's why we are now in the process of having the people who registered from last year up to now. The names are pinned on the notice board at the Kibra polling station, the returning officer's constituency office, for those people to verify. And then by next week, we shall have put all the names together and one comprehensive register will be available to the political parties, to any interested party. And also that's the register which will now be used for voting purposes. And so we have agreed today that as we wait for next week, the ODM party will be given the 2017 register and the names of the voters who registered from last year up to date, so that they can also do their own verification. And I just want to tell Kenyans that those names are there at the constituency office, so any voter in Kibra is free to go to the constituency office and also check those details. And number two, we discussed the level of preparedness of the commission as far as Kibra by-election and the four other wards which are ongoing, which are having elections next week. The commission is prepared for these by-elections, and one area that we also discussed is that ballot papers are ready, all the materials are ready. The ballot papers will be printed locally, and this will be done by a Dilaru printing company. So these are ballot papers for the 4 wards and the Kibra by-election. But the Commission has procured services of the Dilaru Printing Company to print the ballot papers for the by-elections. So all the materials are ready, or rather, all processes are ready, and the Commission is fully prepared for the by-elections. An issue that came up is electoral malpractice, allegations of electoral malpractice, and the Commission will assign an investigator from the Commission to Kibra to follow up allegations of any malpractice and report accordingly. There was an issue about poll officials. All poll officials who will participate in Kibra will be shared with the political parties through the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties. And if there are any issues, then those concerns will be raised by the parties accordingly. We discussed also the issue of ICT in these elections. There will be no transmission of results from polling stations to the tallying center. This transmission is, the law provides for transmission for presidential elections. And so here the KIMS kits will be used only for verification and keeping the data for verification and identification. But the other processes are manual, and they'll be handled at the tallying center, at the relevant tallying center. Those are the issues. And lastly, there was an issue about polling stations which may change. I think in terms of the school curriculum or programs, the returning officer, together with the directorate involved, will map out these areas if there are any changes so that the voters are informed in good time. And the relevant banners will be put in place so that the voters will know where to vote in good time. And this will be done as soon as possible.
I promised yesterday to visit IEBC offices and have a meeting with the commissioners, although we passed the message through the media. And our explanation is simple, that we had already communicated to IEBC earlier in 4 letters which we made available to the media yesterday. Let it be very clear that we did not come here to IEBC in form of a demonstration or a protest, as some media houses have reported it. I think the media houses are used to ODM always coming to demonstrate at IEBC offices. Today's meeting was purely meeting between IEBC and the leadership of ODM, the officials of ODM as a political party, a party that has fielded candidates in both in Kibra and 3 other electoral wards where there are by-elections coming up soon. So this meeting was consultative. We had a number of issues, and first of all, I want to thank the chairman and his team, including the 2 other commissioners, and the CEO for having a very, very cordial meeting. We have had, I think, almost 2 hours meeting. It was a meeting of engagement, and we have discussed a raft of issues, one of which, the first one, key one, was the issue of the register, and we have come out with the way forward. Actually, we expressed our concern to the IEBC because we had communicated to IEBC earlier on the issue of register, and we were not getting good response. The IEBC has also accepted that probably there are a few things that they should have done earlier, so that this meeting would have not even been necessary anyway. But better never late than never. We are here, and we have agreed that the register for 2017 and the additional names, which are coming to about 333 new registered voters from 2017 to the time the registration of voters in Kibra was stopped legally, and then there were about 44 who transferred from outside to the constituency, and about 22 internal transfers from one polling station to the other. That information would be made available to us today, and not just us. All political parties participating in Kibra can access this. In fact, we have, this meeting is not just beneficial to ODM, even to other parties whom I see their leaders campaigning in the US. Yeah? They are also going to benefit from this. Even those who are campaigning for their candidates in other constituencies instead of Kibra, they are also allowed to benefit from this initiative that we have had. Then the final register, which is being verified and will be approved by, or certified, if I may use the right word, by IEBC, will be availed next week, 18th. As a party will pay for it and will get that register. That is the assurance we've got from IEBC, and that register will be gazetted. Now, having addressed the register, we also talked about the electoral preparedness. I don't want to go into the details. I think the chairman, you have been very exhaustive on that matter. We also touched on issue of ICT. That, again, you have covered very well. The issue of polling stations, our concerns were that, one, there is no proper communication from IEBC to the voters regarding the change of polling stations for logistical reasons. And we have asked IEBC actually to make communication much better through maybe civic education. They have complained about resource constraints, but we have even suggested to them that they can also put banners indicating exactly where the polling stations have been transferred to assist the voters to understand early enough where they will be required to vote. The last issue that I think we have talked about is regarding the issues of electoral malpractice based on our statutes, the Elections Act, the IEBC Act, and even other political parties Act. We have complained about some politicians, political leaders, state officers using state resources, including state facilities, to campaign. IEBC has expressed that we have not complained officially, but we have also made it clear to them that we really don't have to complain. They have a duty as an institution tasked with the responsibility of ensuring the credibility of the electoral process to make sure that it is credible. And so the chairman has indicated very clearly that he will be there, plus other commissioners, even though the returning officer is the one who has the responsibility of running this electoral process and conducting the election, but they have an oversight responsibility to make sure that the whole thing is done, and investigation will be done. In fact, we were surprised that there has been they are not assigned an investigator for Kibra. We thought even if the resources are so constrained, even if you have only one investigator, logically that investigator should have first been assigned to Kibra. But we take kindly, the response from IEBC that they are going to assign investigator, and the matter will be resolved. I want to just conclude that our concern was on transparency and accountability of this process. Elections are not just supposed to be free and fair. They are supposed to be seen to be free and fair. And that is on that basis that as a party we felt we had a civic responsibility to come to the offices of IEBC, which is a public office, and engage with the commissioners and the commission in general, so that we sort out and clarify matters that were appearing grey, and so that the people of Kibera, Kenyans in general, have confidence that their will be respected on 7. That we have registered here. There is nothing like mambo ya kisiasa. Everything is kisiasa here, including what I've spoken about. We have already shared everything, including the complaints we have had about some 2 officers. And the commissioners asked us, not necessarily the commissioners whom I had were mentioned, but we have complained through our legal representative here about 2 commissioners whom we feel are, officers of the commission, who are with their accusations that they are interfering with this process. And the commission has asked us to provide information, which we are going to do. So there's really nothing we are doing under the table. Everything is above the table.
Not yet submitted.
Pardon?
Is there any other question?
I've just said that the commission has requested us to do a formal complaint. How did we know they would ask for a formal complaint to do it?
Is there any other question?
Yes.
Yes, Leto.
As a commission, we have not received any complaints so far. It's only yesterday that we heard from the media, and today is when we have discussed. And I believe the party has said they're going to write to us. So when we receive the complaint, we shall address the issues. It's in the interest of the commission that the processes of elections, by-elections in Kibra and the forwards are conducted in a free, fair and transparent manner, and that Kenyans, the voters, should actually exercise their right without any hindrance or intimidation by anyone.
Because it's not an election malpractice. Campaigning using state resources is. I don't understand the question.
So thank you very much. Good day. Yep.
Chairman, thank you very much.
Outcome. We have just told IEBC to make sure that the process is credible. Because if we start asking about the ballot papers to be shown their color, we will start asking the height of the polling officers and their ethnic composition. What we have told IEBC, please do a credible process and keep us updated at every stage of the way so that this process is transparent. That is the only way to be assured of accountability in this electoral process.
I think that's it.
Thank you.
Last.
I believe you all know, for the commission, procurement is entirely in the hands of the management. We have director procurement, very competent. We have acting CEO leading the management team.
Just ignore their question.
You missed my runs in a long time.